All right, everybody. It's another week of Talking Press. This is Jim West and Dale Ross and Coach Brian Hales. Let's go ahead and get this show started. All right. I'll tell you what. I know Dale, Brian, we're talking off camera just a little bit about offensive line. Dale, I don't know if that's where you want to start tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think just like Coach said earlier, it should always start with the kids, and
I agree
that's
with
right. It's all about the kids, so we can go ahead and
Yes,
bring them
please.
in.
Xander.
How you doing?
There
we go. Let's go. This offensive line night. Xander in the house. Joe Evans is here. Man, I'm excited about this one. Let's go.
Xander's a D lineman.
I am. Yeah, so we're going to have D line and offensive line.
Man, just as good. Hey, D linemen are just future O linemen. Just keep hitting Golden Corral and Waffle House, man. You'll get there.
Yeah.
That's what we used to say, O line to D line to the bus line. So, we'll get you going another direction, get you on the O line.
To the bus line.
Get that weight up there. I might have to.
That's all right. That's all right. We just take the smart guys on offense.
Yeah. Oh, I may stay on defense then.
That's funny.
All right, I'll start, but I'm gonna let Coach Hales ask most of the questions. Both of the kids tonight are from South Mech. In our internal chat, Langston called it the South Mech Show because we got Coach Evans on with us tonight too. So hopefully Coach will stick around for a few questions after we get the kids. But Xander, which position you play on defensive line?
I play defensive end on the D line.
Oh, edge rusher. I hear you.
Now, Xander, is that something? Is defensive line, defensive end? Is that something you always played, or is this kind of a position you grew into over the years?
I've been playing I've been playing football for probably about 11 years of my life now, and I've been on the line pretty much the whole time. I used to be an offensive lineman. I played pretty much everything on the offensive line, and then got sick of being hit and wanted to be the dude giving the hit. So I was like, well, I'll go try out defense.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's your favorite part about playing defensive line? Like, do you like run game coming at you? You like seeing big running backs, or do you like getting after the quarterback?
I like getting after the quarterback. I think pass rushing is definitely my strong suit on being a D end. It's definitely pass rush. So I love to see a tackle start kick stepping. I know I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to get past them.
Now, how much do you study the guys that you're getting ready to play against? Like, do you have a pretty good idea like what a good pass set looks like, or do you see guys kind of attack you more?
Yeah, I go to look at the film. We do whenever we go to practice, we normally start out with film, so we get a good look at it there, and then I I go home and I look at it a little bit more at myself, look how the tackles are kicking, see if they're kicking more vertical or more horizontally, because that'll determine how I attack the week on pass rush. If I'm gonna go straight out, try and keep them in a telephone booth, is how one of my old D-line coaches used to say. Stay right on his hip and then just work a move, get past him. Or if he's kicking vertical, try to sell up field, plant, redirect, go back inside, get him that way.
Do you like more beating them off the edge like that, or setting them up and coming back up? Well, maybe I shouldn't ask. You guys still got some games left.
Yeah, still got a few weeks left. So I can't give away all the secrets, but I feel
he's good at both, guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I can change ways pretty quick on the fly too. So if I'm rushing upfield and see that that's not working, I can quickly kind of come back and go back inside.
Where did you learn to do your film study? Was this something that you've kind of, always kind of enjoyed doing, or is this something like, Coach Evans or your position coaches have kind of got with you and taught you how to look at things?
I used to watch film like a little bit. It wasn't as much, but I didn't really know how to watch film until I got to South, and Coach Evans and Coach Gray, our defensive coordinator there, they really taught me how to break it down and look at each play individually and kind of break down the film that way.
That's good stuff. How big are you, Xander?
I am about 5'11" and 165 pounds.
Mm-hmm. So you could get you're up underneath people's pads then. I gotta imagine.
Yeah, I think I've gone every tackle I've gone up against this year, and all of my high school career has been a bit bigger than me, but it's all right.
Gotcha, man. Hey, sitting there at 6-1, winning 6 in a row, you must be doing something right.
Oh yeah.
We
got a good team
motor.
over here.
He has an absolute motor. Xander is an absolute machine on the defensive line. At his size, he doesn't let it phase him. He's amazing. Like his engine never stops. Like you see him get knocked down, he gets right back up, goes after the ball. Like, man, like what he lacks in size, he makes up for in heart and engine. I'm telling you, it's hard to explain how hard this kid works.
That's
for you to
fantastic.
pick him, Coach. He works.
And Joe, I mean, we've seen so many kids over the years like that, may not have the size, especially playing high school football, like that relentlessness, that attitude of just continuing to come after people. I mean, that stuff pays off like crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, size is, high school football is not all about size, man. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, right? It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go get after somebody. Who cares? Like, Xander's never been one of those to be like, oh, I'm leaner, I'm smaller. Like he uses that to his advantage a lot of times because, if it's a bigger tackle, he does a pretty good job of keeping the guy's hands off of him, and avoiding getting locked in and getting held up and posted. So that's one thing that he uses to his advantage. Like he's, hey, I'm never going to be able to just bull rush somebody and knock them over, but and I'm going to beat him with, my brains. I'm going to beat him with my quickness. And he's relentless, man. I'm telling you, I can't explain how relentless he is on the field. It's fun to watch him play.
Do you, Coach Evans, can you tell like when Xander enters the room, like, is he just one of those guys, he comes into the room and just things change?
Xander, so little known fact about Xander Crenshaw. All right. Don't worry, Xander. I got you. Xander's also a really good golfer. He plays on the golf team at South. Right. He also plays rugby at South. So when Xander comes in the room, man, his energy is infectious. He's always in a good mood. Like I don't think I've ever seen him come in the locker room or come out on the field and just kind of be like down in the dumps or whatever. I can give him a hard time, man, and he takes it, he gives it right back, and he's absolutely one of my guys. Like he's one of my go-to guys. Like if I'm having a day, man, I can go say something to Xander and his big smile cracks out and he's got something to say and it kind of picks me up. So he's I can't say enough about how much he means to our program and how hard his work ethic, infects other people. So you can't say enough good things about him.
That's awesome. Xander, what do you think's been the key for you guys this season? Like I said, 6-1, winning 6 in a row. What's been the big thing you think that's been the driving force behind that?
I think just our team as a whole. Being around high school football for this long, I have yet to see a team as close as we are on the field. We all know each other outside of football, and we're all friends outside of football. So that helps in the aspect of communication when we get onto the field, and if we need to check out of plays and stuff like that. We all know how each other work and know each other's weaknesses. So if one person lacks one thing, we can have other people come in and pick up where they leave off. But we got a pretty good team when we all kind of contribute and play how we should play. We can do some pretty special things.
That's awesome, man. Now, Coach said you're a golfer, you're a rugby player. What else on the football field do you do? Like, are you a special teams guy as well? Like, you running down covering kicks and are you a punter? Like, what else do you do?
I'm not a punter. I like to say that I can kick sometimes, but I really can't. But I'm on the punt team there, kickoff return. So kind of anything they say, like if a coach comes up to me and says, "Hey, I need you on this," I'm like, "All right, yeah, just tell me where to go."
Yeah. He's lobbying for an eligible number so he can play tight end. So
I am. I want to catch a ball.
Give it to him, man. Give it to him. Give it to him.
Hey, he's wearing 56, man. I knew a pretty good dude that played defense at North Carolina and played for the Giants that wore number 56. So he's doing that number right.
Hey, Xander, tell Joe to reach out to me because I got a special player. We could throw the ball to an offensive lineman, and so maybe he could sneak in there. We could get you a little touchdown.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to get in the box and score 6.
Hey, we play Huff next week, man. Don't give it all away.
I love it, man. I love it, man. I'm so excited about having you guys on here, having you linemen, because this is the type of personality. And Xander, any coach would tell you, like, we love you offensive, defensive line guys, because like all you want to do is you just want to come in and work. You want to make the team better. It's not about, I need this face mask or I need to have this thing. It's all about team. It's all about winning. And you can tell just your personality. And like Coach said, man, we all need guys like you. We as coaches, we all need those go-to guys. And man, I love that you're one of them.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Jim, you got anything?
Well, Xander, just out of curiosity, are you a senior?
I am a senior.
Okay, what are you planning to do next year?
I'm planning to go to college, just be a college student. Maybe if I get an opportunity, play on a golf team somewhere. But I think after my high school football career comes to an end, I think I'm gonna hang them up there.
Yeah, I got you. Any school in particular, or any type of studies you want to go pursue?
I'd like to. I'd like to do something involving in sports management or sports marketing, and I'm looking at Ole Miss right now.
Okay, over in Oxford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. That'd be a good one for Xander.
Exactly.
I can see that. I can see. He looks like one of them Ole Miss guys.
Oh, dude, hat on backwards, just bouncing around, good mood. Like Ole Miss would be lucky to have Xander Crenshaw. I can tell you that much.
You know something else? Ole Miss also has they also have a golf history too. So that's a good opportunity.
Yeah. Dale, what you got for Xander? You got any questions for Xander, Dale? You're old high school football guru.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Coach Hales asked a lot of good questions. The only things I'll say is, as you were talking, Xander, back in Pop Warner, I played defensive end. I wasn't big enough to play defensive end in high school, or at least, I was probably just a little bit bigger than you are, to be quite honest with you. Maybe I just didn't have the heart you have, but it is a fun position. We played it a little bit differently, though, in my day, where defensive end stood up versus hands in the dirt. But no, not really. I think Coach Hales asked you a lot of good questions. I think just to hear about your desire, hopefully I'm going to see you play here in the next few weeks as well. So I am going to get out, Joe, and see you. I only got to see you one time last year, and I am going to get out to see your team this year. So Xander, I'll definitely check you out. Get us some film. I will say that. So
I will find us some film.
And just remember one other thing, something I taught my son to be very strong in was the physics of the game. So size, you can use physics to your advantage as well. So you're probably already figuring that stuff out. Good footwork and good speed and leverage goes a long ways.
Yes, sir.
Well, Xander, thank you so much for joining in here. And I'd like for us to bring in your fellow teammate, Aiden, on here.
Hey,
how's it going, Aiden?
Doing good.
God, you guys related? Holy cow!
No, I gotta
go to the same. Go to the same barber.
All these dudes have the same haircut, man.
Yeah.
They'll go to this. Don't go to the same barber together.
Yeah.
So, Aiden, you play center.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a position I know a little bit more about. Coach Hales here is an offensive line coach. So I'm gonna let Coach Hales just lead with the questions. I think I will say you play a very tough position. You get beat up a lot. It was one of the things my son told me when he got recruited by Davidson, and there's some storylines behind that. But he used to get, every Friday night he'd come home and it was like they're always beating on the top of his helmet, on the top of his helmet.
You see my helmet. You see my helmet. It's all marked in.
So it is a very tough position to play, not just from a physical point of view, but it's also a smartness. Do you direct your line?
Yes, sir.
Call your line plays and everything.
I do. It's exactly what I do right when I get up to the ball. I got to tell them where to go.
Right. And you tell the rest of the line what they're supposed to do?
Yes, sir.
Do you guys have I'm gonna Coach Hales, I'm gonna throw it off to you, but you guys have communications, I'm sure, that you use.
Absolutely.
When my son played, being all big, linemen, they like to eat a lot. They always use food as their calls. I'm not going to ask you to tell us what you use.
He won't tell you.
Yeah, well, I don't want you to. I'm not going to ask you. I just thought I'd share with you that they use food, and it may be a meat one week or vegetables. Very rarely, actually, vegetables. Fruit is really what I was thinking. Sometimes they would use fruit, but they had different things to signal how they were going to block. Coach Hales, I'm going to let you go from there.
Yeah. So, like Dale said, Aiden, I'm an old offensive lineman. I played guard in college. I played both right side and left side. One thing we always say is, like, the smarter you are, the closer you are to the ball. So I guess technically you're just a little bit smarter than I am because you're actually on the ball and I was the guy next to you. But what about playing offensive line, specifically, center? What appeals to you the most about that?
Oh, one thing I like is just like the leadership role I'm in. Like all the guys look to me, let me get you the ball. And one thing that I kind of grew to like is like the smartness of the game that I have like acquired over the last couple of years. Like I've learned I like being able to, like, I love when I see a backer blitz. That makes me happy. It's like we got a 4-man defense. We can set to the one, and that backer come down and pick up the backer. Like I love seeing those backers trying to come up and make a play and just steal it.
Absolutely. just kind of laying in the weeds there at the last second coming off on them, right? Heck yeah, man. They deserve that stuff. I'm with you on that. Now, have you always been a center, or is this something you've kind of picked up through high school?
I mean, when I was in like 5th and 6th grade, I played D-line, but once 8th grade came, that's when I started playing center.
Here we go. Here's one of these blitzes, right? Oh, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, look at that clip, man. Yeah, that's beautiful stuff. Now, tell me, do you guys ever get under center, or are you guys always in the shotgun?
We're normally in shotgun. Like if it's 4th and 1 or goal line, we'll go under center, but that's about it. Or shotgun.
Do you find it's a tough adjustment for the quarterbacks to get under center? Because I know there's just so many kids now, like growing up playing 7-on-7, like they're just back there in the shotgun the whole time. And when it's time to get up there and get their hands, up underneath the center's butt, kind of gets a little bit challenging for them. Like, do you find like that's been an issue, or you guys pretty good about that?
No, sir. Gilly's a great quarterback. He's really good at adjusting on the fly. So I think we can understand on the goal line. First thing makes it easier for me because my get off, I can just put the ball back and go. So, and he has no problem like getting in his stance and opening up and handing it off. So I really don't think under center opposes that much of a like.
Was that you?
Xander, Aiden, I'm surprised it's the first bark we heard.
I know, I'm shocked too. I was expecting a lot more.
I got to ask a question, Coach Hales. How many pancakes have you got this year?
This year, I'm not This year I've not been as physically dominant as I was last year. This year we've had a lot of like odd defenses. But if I'm like, let me count. I think.
I mean, we just saw a lot of pancakes.
Yeah, that was last year. That was my junior year. I was
Okay.
way down in my junior year. Probably 5 or 6 pancakes, I would say. Probably 5 or 6.
Now, within your offense, does Coach Evans let you get out and pull a little bit too, or are you just
Nah,
you know?
They won't let me pull from center. They won't let me pull. I wish they would.
I got you, man. I got you. I tell you, man, centers that can snap and get out and move like that, man, the value you guys add to an offense, that's a big time thing, man. Come on, Joe. You got to let him get out there on some counters and some stuff.
Oh, he can definitely do it. I mean, he plays Aiden plays rugby too, and he's actually a really good rugby player, and he can move. Like, I mean, he's a big, strong dude, but he can move. So, like I said, we play Huff next week, man. I'm not giving away all the things.
He has good footwork for sure.
He really has. He really does. He has good footwork, and he's got a little nasty in him. He's got a little mean streak, which I love, and he's a finisher. It's so hard in high school to get kids to just hit that next gear and be a finisher, and Aiden definitely has that. He's, like I said, he's got a streak to him for sure.
Now, Aiden, we all know Coach Evans is a big time weight room guy.
Yes,
What is your favorite lift in the weight room? What's your favorite one to do?
It's pretty basic, the bench press. I think the bench press.
Who can bench more, you or Coach Evans?
Me. Look at Coach Evans. He can't bench that much. Look at me.
Hey, man, don't get online telling lies. Hey, I'll tell you what Aiden is really good at. Aiden is really good at power cleans. Really, really good at power cleans. We were power cleaning and hand cleaning today, and he was crushing them out. So that's one of the things that we take a lot of pride in. Bench press is the cute one. That's the one that we know the squats and the cleans and the meat and potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
What about his squat?
No.
What's his?
Dude, he's up over 4 something.
I'm not 4 right now.
Yeah, 4 or 5 right now. Yeah,
450.
405.
Yeah,
405.
Yeah,
max next week, so we'll see how much.
Max week next week. We max during the season. I know you said I'm a big weight room guy. We don't sit around in the weight room and just do empty bar stuff in the season. We get stronger during the season.
That's awesome, man. And what to me anyway, it's been my experience. Guys that can hang clean, guys that can power clean, always you're going to have a leg up on those guys that are just, like to just stick their feet in the ground and do deadlifts and do squat, being able to get that triple extension, that change of direction and things like that. I know that's so important, especially as a center, having to come up out of a stance like that. Like, you don't have the luxury of being able to play in a 2-point stance. So you got to have those ankles, knees, and hips flexed and, quick out of your stance like that. Do you think you're at a point now you could predict plays that Coach Evans is going to call?
Oh yeah. I can see the plays coming. I know it's coming. I can sense it. Yeah.
What we were talking about how brilliant offensive linemen are already to begin with. What's your favorite subject in school?
Oh, I'm not as good at school as I am in the field. Favorite subject? Well, since I have lifting as my second block, probably my weightlifting class. That's my favorite subject.
You got a great teacher.
Amazing teacher.
I love it.
It's awesome. Yeah. No, they're both of these guys are good boys, man. I mean, they're great weight room guys. They're more importantly, they're great culture guys. They're just good culture guys to have around. They're always there. Aiden got voted as a captain by his coaches, and we had one of our captains get hurt, and another one of the guys came up to me and said, "Hey, can we add Xander in as a captain? So when one of your players comes to you and wants to recognize another player as doing things that a captain should do, that speaks volumes." And that's just who these two guys are. I mean, they're just great culture guys. They're glue guys. It's just you got to have guys like Xander and Aiden.
Do you guys have anything that you do, Aiden, like as a group? Like, do you guys go out to eat together, like on Wednesdays or on like Saturday mornings, anything like that?
We always do like a preseason, like lunch, and then we do a end of regular season one. So we just had our close to end of regular season lunch or dinner. My bad. Yesterday we all went to Chili's, and we just smacked down on some Chili's.
Yeah, they did their O-line dinner during a bye week for the season.
Now, did Coach Evans pay for that for you guys, or did you guys have to pay your own way?
No, Coach Evans wasn't there. Actually, it was our other O-line coach, Coach Iverson.
I didn't get invited.
You can't ever invite the boss, man. You can't invite. Don't be the guy that invites the boss. Now that's good stuff, man. So, all right. So, what'd you get at Chili's? What was your go-to order?
I get the triple dipper, or I get the chicken bacon ranch quesadillas. Those are my two go-to every time.
Can't beat it.
I don't know what a triple dipper is, but you're saying triple. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of it.
It's great.
What do you guys think? How's the rest of the season looking for you guys? I know you got a big one coming up with Huff. You guys got Myers Park down the road there a little bit. What do you guys think is the biggest thing you guys got to improve on to make sure you guys finish this off with a conference championship this year?
Offensively, we need to start hot. Like, even though you've put up 40-plus points last couple of games, we started off kind of slow. We've been a little sloppy in the ending of the game. And I think if we can just, bring those two factors together, we can be absolutely dominant and just, finish through these last 3 games really strong.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And you can tell both you guys, but, you and Xander both. I mean, I can see why Coach Evans feels so strongly about you guys and to see just the big season that you guys are having, man. And that's, for me, congratulations on that. I know you guys got to be super proud of it and super excited. And that whole South Bend community, too, get things rocking like you are right now over there. That's a big deal. That community loves a winner over there. And, again, congratulations to you guys on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they've done it all. They've done it all with not playing one home game all season, and they haven't complained. Yeah. They haven't moaned and groaned. I mean, we go straight from the weight room and get on the bus. And when I first told them we weren't going to play any home games, I brought the team in the weight room and kind of gave them a time to moan and gripe and complain. And they kind of asked a couple questions, and they were finally like, "Hey, let's just go play ball." Once we get on the grass or once we get on the turf, all anything that matters is football and each other. So they've done a really good job of embracing the Road Warriors, man, and they haven't missed a beat.
I love it. Hey, I'm in the same boat as you guys. We get our first home game this week. For our first home game this year, we get to play this week. So I'm with you guys, man. The buses get old after a while.
Yeah, you end up having to make every field your home field, right? Yeah. Well, you have to treat.
That's right, man. Exactly. Who is it? It wasn't Genghis Khan. It was who was the guy? It was the Conqueror. That ordered his troops when they got to a place to take over. He ordered them to burn the boats. He said, "Your only way back home is you got to take them boats over. You got to conquer. You got to dominate, and you got to take their boats, and that's your only way home."
Right.
Yep.
Well, guys, I know that you got a lot of stuff to prepare for tonight. Guys, I just want to thank you so much, Aiden and Xander, for joining the show. So good to see you guys. And I also want to tell you how lucky you are to have Coach Evans, head coach. Coach Evans, I've always respected him. Actually, I don't think we've ever talked before, Joe, but I hope you know I've always been a fan. He's known as a respected leader, a very a successful leader, and I'm hoping later on in your life that you'll be able to reflect on the leadership that Coach Evans has shown you. Thank you guys for staying on. Coach Evans, if you can stay on a little bit.
Yeah, sure thing.
We want to. I know we need to do a couple other things for the show, but what we got going on here? I think we want to talk a little bit about CMS.
We wanted to. Joe, what I've wanted to do is, for a long time, is to give linemen more of a chance to be seen and heard, because I think every one of us agrees there's such an important part of a winning team, winning a game, winning a play,
Yeah.
Are our offensive and defensive linemen. So looks
Yeah,
like
I
you
mean,
picked two good ones.
We make so when we do our 7-on-7 period during the week and game prep, we make our O line and our D line go in 7-on-7 so they can work pass rush. And nobody ever gets to complain at the O line. Running backs don't get to complain at them, because if they do, I'm like, well, we'll go do inside run against the defense, and I'll take the offensive line out. And you let me know how much you appreciate them now. And they, and our kids, man, like you can tell by Xander and Aiden, but our kids are close, man. They're tight. They're hard on each other. They get on each other's butts, and but they love each other so much that it doesn't really matter when they get on each other. They just don't want to let each other down. And we got a really good group of offensive linemen and defensive linemen that take that to heart.
How many guys between your O-line and D-line are seniors?
So I got 2 starters on the offensive line are seniors. And then 2 on our defensive line are seniors. The rest are all juniors and sophomores.
Good stuff.
So you got Nate Baker and Aiden Gallant are both, like, Nate's a 3-year starter at O-line. Aiden's a 2-year starter. And then, defensive line, Xander was kind of a spot play, role play guy last year, but I mean, you just can't keep him off the field this year with that effort and that motor. And then we actually have Braden Walton, who's another defensive end for us, who's plays some linebacker as well. But so just those 4, man. We got a really good group up front on offense and defense coming back next year.
Man, future's bright. Future's bright.
It's not bad.
What's your senior ratio for the? I'm sorry, Coach Hales. I just want to follow that, and I'll let you have it back. What is your senior ratio right now? How many seniors are on your team?
So I got 15 seniors this year. And we got about 45, 47 kids on the varsity team. So it's not like, we're not one of those teams that has 75, 80 kids on varsity. So, you're looking at about a third of the team. But we do play a lot of underclassmen. So that's always good. And we don't hang people out to dry. We rotate a lot through there.
So since this is kind of an O-line, D-line centric conversation here tonight, tell us a little bit about your O-line and D-line coaches.
So my offensive line coach is Nick Goslin. Nick actually played offensive line for me when I was at Audrey Kell. And he actually worked for a year under Jamar Nesbitt, who Bryson Nesbitt and Michael Nesbitt's dad played in the NFL, won a Super Bowl with the Saints, and played for the Panthers, and he stayed local. So he kind of worked with him for a year, and he's done a really good job of building that. We all know you got to have that cohesion on that offensive line, and he does a really good job of building that family aspect of it. And those boys are giving each other a hard time, and he does a really good job of making adjustments. Bringing this, look at the iPad or look at the screen and see what he did to you here. Let's make this adjustment. He does, bring stuff to me in run game and things are like, hey, we can do this. I mean, we installed a play at halftime against West Meck last week, just like on the fly, and he put the whole thing in, and we ran it the first play coming out, and it popped for like 12 yards. And my defensive line coach, his name is Donald McClure. It's his first year with us. He was at Valentine Ridge and Barry before. And he does a really good job with just coaching D-line technique, right? I mean, those kids are key working their get offs, and every single day in Indy period is very consistent. We all know as teachers and as coaches, consistency is key, right? It's not always about intensity, but a lot of times it's about consistency. And it's like, we're going to do the same drills, and if you mess up, we're going to repeat it and we'll fix it. And he does a really good job as well. So I got a really good O-line, D-line coaches. Also want to give a shout out to my JV O-line coach. His name is Jay Alverson. It's his first year with us, and he does the same thing with the JV O-line and works with Nick with the varsity O-line. Jay does a really good job of building cohesion with that young group, which, goes without saying, our JV group 6-1 too. So they've won 6 straight games as well. And he does a really good job with the offensive line on the JV group. So they've made a huge difference in our play in the trenches.
That's cool, man. That's cool, because that's the thing. We know that offensive linemen, really don't get a lot of recognition, but those O and D line coaches, man, because they don't have that spring 7-on-7 stuff that they're doing and running around and So no, I think this is great that we get a chance to recognize those guys and the hard work that they do. And, to get a kid to be able to buy in to play an offensive line, it takes a special coach to be able to get a kid, to consistently come in and do that. It sounds like you got a good crew with you right there.
Oh, definitely lead by example. And they're servant leaders, man. My coaches are servant leaders, and it filters down to the kids. And they, they care a lot about the kids, and the kids care in turn, care a lot about the coaches, and the kids care about each other. So that can take you a lot further than just talent alone. We know that.
Mm-hmm. Well, attitude reflects leadership, Coach, and I know that you kind of setting the tone for those guys, and was lucky enough to work with you in that Queen City Bowl, and who knows, man, maybe we'll get to work together again someday. But man, congratulations on the start, for real. Like that's awesome, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So on that start, going into the season, is this about where you thought you would be? Are you ahead? About where you thought you'd be, or
you know what I told in the spring, kind of right after I told the kids we weren't going to have any home games, when we're all just sitting in the weight room, and I like anytime I give them bad news, right, I always give them time to complain, because you got to have a vent, right? Like if you don't give them time to complain or moan and groan, this is our family time to go ahead and go. I kind of let them have some time, and I said, okay, go ahead. And there wasn't too much complaining. And then I kind of brought it back down. I was like, look, I said, this group, we won the conference championship with a group the year right after COVID. And I told them, I said, you guys can be better than that group. And you guys, you can be a really, really special group. And they know I don't blow smoke, man. I'm straight up. I'm a straight shooter with them. I don't fluff. I don't beat around the bush. I said, but you got to put the work in. And if you worrying about not playing a home game is going to be your biggest concern, then you're not going to have much success. And they've done a great job of managing not having a home field, walking all the way around campus to get to the practice field. It's actually been a cool thing to see when they walk to practice together all the way around campus, of the conversations they have, and that gets you a little bit closer. And so I thought whenever we started, that this would be, and I told the kids last week, this is where we expected to be. This is absolutely what we expected to be. And I don't let them get complacent. We won, kind of big last week against West Mech, and I kind of chewed them out at the end of the game and told them they got sloppy and they kind of got complacent and let their guard down, and told them they looked satisfied. And they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, you played like you looked satisfied. Are you satisfied? And they were like, no, we're not. I said, then play like it and practice like it.
that's tough sometimes for players to swallow when they feel like they've done well, but then coach tells them, no, you didn't. You left things. So
yeah. And it comes from, and they know that, I love these kids, man. Like I love this, I love all the kids I coach, but they know when I'm coming down on them that I'm being straight up honest with them, and I'm not doing it anywhere other than a place of love, because I love coaching. And I love being around kids. It keeps me young. I'm 45 years old now, Dale. Does that make you feel good? Make you feel a little old?
Yeah, it makes me feel real old, brother.
Yeah, but it's it's like I build relationships with my kids, man. And like if you're a good relationship builder, then you can have those hard and tough conversations. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, what's your record against our alma mater after this past week?
The only game I lost, I don't know the number. I just know last week I was 1-0. That's all I worry about, man. Like, when I do the preseason thing for the Observer and they ask me what my record as a head coach is, like, I got no clue. I got to look it all up, because I worry about winning. I worry about being 1-0 every Friday night. And it's like, right now we're 0-0 until we get to that field next Friday night in Cornelius.
Coach, I got to ask you a question. Who would you consider to be your mentor as a head football coach?
Oh man, I've had some great ones. So the first person I ever coached with in high school football was Rocky White.
Rocky.
And Rocky was really, really good at, he loved the kids. He would have tough conversations with them off the field. He'd take care of them off the field. You need a ride, you need food. Like, he was always there for his kids. So he's number one. The second one that I had was Bill Geiler at Independence. And Coach Gallagher was a huge mentor to me. And it wasn't so much telling me what to do. He was telling me kind of the things not to do as a head coach. He's like, hey, you don't want to do, don't do this, but here's why you don't do it. Like if you do this, here's the reaction and here's the negative that you're going to get out of it. So he kind of helped me see through some things, like as a growth as a coach. And then also, as a young offensive mind, like I would just ask Coach Geiler, we'd get on the whiteboard in the office at Independence when I was his OC, and I'd say, hey, if I line up like this, what were you going to do on defense? And he'd line it up and I'd say, okay, where's the hole? Where's the hole in your defense? Because there's always a hole in the defense. And he would kind of show me, and he was like, all right, here's how you can manipulate it. Right. So Coach Gallagher did a great job. And actually, I consider one of my good friends, Scott Chadwick, great mentor, was there for me in a tough time when I really needed somebody to reach out to me and help me out. And he, had me on his staff for 2 years at Myers Park. Learned a lot of stuff from Coach Chadwick. Really, really good football mind, but also just another, one thing, those three guys, Rocky and Scott and Bill Geiler, they're all great guys. They're all just great people that care about kids and care about ball. So I can't thank those guys enough. And my number one, I call him a mentor, but I never got to coach with him, was Bobby Bowden. And Bobby Bowden has one of my favorite sayings ever. When your team's playing like dogs, treat them like kings. And when playing like kings, treat them like dogs. And it was just like his love for his players and the things that he did. I'm a huge Florida State fan. But just, seeing the things, I went to camp at Florida State and got to have a conversation with Coach Bowden when I was 17, when I was in high school. And I consider him and the way he coaches and his passion, for the game as a huge thing that I can look forward to.
Yeah, I was going to say you're a big Florida State guy without question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jim, I got a call from Rocky, and he said, I want you to be here at practice tomorrow. I'm like, why? He said, well, I'm going to have somebody here. I want you to see who's going to be here. And it was Joe. That was actually the first time Joe and I had ever met. I knew who Joe was, obviously, because he was a big stud at West Mecklenburg.
You're telling fish stories now, man.
But I don't know if you remember that day, but I still remember the day because one of the things I always admired about West Meck was the stadium. Mm-hmm. And the field that we had there, the field that Coach Lemon kept, and I always gave Rocky credit for maintaining that same thought about the care for the stadium and the care for the field. And anyway, that was the first time we met, and was that in 2005 or?
Well, so my first year with Rocky, I think was 2022 maybe, because I was right out of college. I mean, Coach McConnell called me and
not
said,
2022. That would have been 3 years ago.
Oh, sorry. No. I mean, 2002. See, I'm old, man.
2002. Okay, that's when it was. It was a long time ago. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, it has been. You talk about Coach Lemon maintaining that field. So when I was a senior, during football season, I used to go out during fourth period and help Coach Lemon paint that arrow on that field. And that's kind of where I learned, him and Coach Webster, David Webster. That's where I learned to paint fields. And I learned how to do logos, and I paint the paw in the middle of our game field at home. And, so like I took a lot of pride in that because I saw how much pride Donnie Lemon took in taking care of that field. And that made me proud to be able just to help him for an hour or so a week.
So to share that, and I believe I've told you this before, my senior year, I was a gym assistant to Coach Lemon. Mm-hmm. And I helped him on Thursdays and Fridays. One of the things that we would do as his gym assistant during football season was to, line the field and paint. And every week we had a home game. Everything was fresh. It was every week. Everything was fresh. Jim, you'd have really appreciated the attention that Coach Lemon was a West Met grad, and he went back and taught, and he was my OC, but then he became the AD after Coach Bolick left.
Yeah.
He became the AD there, and was just one of those guys that he almost, I used to tell people he had a name for every blade of grass on that field. That's how well he knew that field, or how much he cared about that field. But this is about you, Joe, not not
I
Coach
take a lot of pride. I take a lot of pride in saying I went to West Meck. I love that place growing up. I played Pop Warner right across the street. For the West Meck Bandits, we were the West Meck Indians back then. And last week we went over there for the JV game. We were pulling up. That's Queens's baseball and softball facility now. So as we're pulling up, I'm driving the bus and I point over to the JV guys and I was like, "Man, that's where I grew up playing Little League and Pop Warner." And they're like, "Wait, you played Pop Warner on a baseball field?" And I'm like, "No, guys, it didn't look like that when I was young." But I took a lot of pride in growing up off of Tuckasegee and Little Rock Road, man. I talk about it all the time, and I took a lot of pride in playing high school football there. I loved West Meck when I was growing up. It was definitely got a special place in my heart.
I want to ask you a CMS related question.
Okay.
It turns out that what I'm going to ask you about first got implemented first of the week of the season, but we didn't really know this was taking place until West Charlotte and Independence played, and they could not have a full stadium. CMS limited attendance, which you're aware of that, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And so my question to you, this is a big issue for me. Now, I recognize that you guys have your own stadium issues and attendance issues of not being able to play at home, but in general, how do you feel about potentially being told that not all, there's going to be no ability, say, for some of the parents to attend or family to attend to see games? What are your thoughts on this evolving situation of limiting some of the fans?
I see both sides of it, right? So like I see like the security aspect of it. I understand that, getting enough people to be there for show pros or police or security or whatever. And I understand that aspect of it, but on the other side of it, I do understand that, it's frustrating when you have, I was a part of those Independence Butler games when I was at Independence. And, I remember walking out at Independence on that field and I look up and it is standing room only. And I'm like, man, I'm calling plays in this game. It's like my first year as offensive coordinator under Geiler. And that was magic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, as soon as the game started as a coach, you're focused on between the lines, and it is like, I see both sides. I see the security and the safety aspect of it. We had a game a couple years ago, the stadium got cleared because of something happened on the other side. And I understand the safety aspect of it because, we don't want anything bad happening to any of our fans or players or, my family. My mom and dad still come to every game. My in-laws come to every game. We don't want anything bad happening to anybody. But on the other side is like, man, I would hate for somebody to miss like that Butler Independence game I was a part of. And it's just, man, I don't know if there's a right answer. It's like, it's unfortunate on both ends because you want to have a huge game because your kids, obviously if it's going to be a huge game, your kids have earned the right to play in that atmosphere, right? But they're going to get to play the game, but the atmosphere may be a little bit different. But you understand, like, man, it could be a safety thing, or it kind of stinks because, we may not be able to have, if we're playing away and, they only give us 400 tickets or whatever, and the other side gets 1,100 or whatever the number is. I mean, yeah, it kind of stinks, but it's you see both sides of it, and as long as we get to play,
right? I understand. Friday night, I don't know if you're aware, we host a Spaces on an X Space and talk about. Usually we talk about the events of that night, games, etc. And we had a person who took part in the spaces. We let people come on and talk. And if you got a moment, I'd like for you to hear what she had to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
I'm a football mom, go Pumas, but I'm also a CMS employee. And I see, Sam, you've made a really couple of really good points. Ironically, I work for operations, so there are times where I'm quote unquote in those rooms or privy to a lot of that stuff that some of those decision making. And I'll say this first, and then I'll speak on the Palisades game. You're absolutely right. What needs to happen is that, in my opinion, there hasn't been an example made for the behavior that we've been seeing at these games. You know, there has not been an example of this is what happens when you misbehave at a football game in CMS. My son's a senior, and since junior year, I've seen and heard of a lot of different things that some schools have tried to do. From what I remember, at one time, Butler, they had kind of like a pseudo dad enforcement agency that kind of helped the SROs and the coaches. And the police force. They had kind of like their own little mini police force that they helped out. I've heard, different variants of that, across the district and the state. But penalizing the kids from having the players from having the full experience of having their family, their community, and their friends and everybody cheer them on, and then the bystander, the watchers who are coming, kicking them out because a handful of people are cutting up and carrying on. It's wrong. And even with the whole idea of, you have to be 17 and this and that, everybody knows after school, there's a lot of kids hanging out after school for whatever reason, so they're not going home. So they're getting into these games. You have parents dropping off 12 and 13 kids, they're jumping out of a car and they're walking up, so I do agree that there has to be some things in place, but while they're doing that, in the meantime, they need to start setting examples for this is what happens when you misbehave, because to punish everybody for the actions of a couple, whether they're inside or outside the perimeter, is wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
I don't know about the pride of the West Side, Joe. I think
that sounds like a CG Road, baby.
Yeah, baby, exactly. But somebody put that together for us that went to another West Side school.
Yeah.
Actually, that was put up because I attended. Unfortunately, I've been at 2 games out of maybe 4 or 5 games that we've had incidents at. Mm-hmm. I went to the Palisades Olympic game first, and this mom that just spoke, she has a son that plays for Palisades. And there was an incident late in the 4th quarter in that game. But the thing that I noticed when I got there, and as the game's going on, I live in Steel Creek now. That's the part of the West Side I live in, the high class part of the West Side, I guess. And I expected this to be a sold out stadium because, 2 community schools, and the stadium wasn't even half full. It was probably a third full, something like that. Maybe a third on the home side and a third on the visitor side, something like that. And I found that odd, and I didn't understand why. And it turns out that game was limited. That was one of the games that was limited, that has been limited this year. And then I happened to be at the Mallard Creek West Charlotte game, and they had an incident there as well. Both incidents happened inside the stadium. They both actually happened on the home side, just because I guess that's where it happened. But we did. There were situations that occurred. I don't know about the other situations, but from what I have seen in the past, I can point specifically to some Gehringer situations. All the situations were outside influences. They were not necessarily the kids at the schools that cause these situations. And security seems to be one of our downfalls, and that's kind of one of the things she was talking about, was there being consequences to actions. What do you think? There's I don't know if we can get my points brought up, but I felt like this might be a good time, and if you would share with us, Joe, some of your thoughts.
So I'll give you an example from one of our games a few years back. We were the away team, and there was an incident that happened on the home side. And they made everybody leave the stadium. And I'm turning around looking at our fans, and our fans are sitting there, and they're just like watching everything go over on the home side. And I was kind of on the side, like the mom was saying, is like, don't punish everybody for the actions of a few, right? Like as a teacher, I'm not going to punish the whole class. If one person's acting up, I'm going to take that student and address that student. So like I said before, I kind of get both sides of it. I do agree. If you're going to, keep your ticket sales at a regular number, like you definitely should increase security, because just we all know, like, just the presence of security makes a difference. Just the presence of more people. Just like a teacher standing in the hallway keeps people, I taught middle school at Coolwood for 5 years, and then I taught Northeast Middle for 3 years. And I taught 6th grade, and just my presence as a teacher standing in the hallway made a difference, because kids would cut their eyes and be like, oh, Evans is standing right there. We're not gonna play around in the hallway. Like increased consequences for somebody taking part in violence at a game. Like, you can absolutely ban somebody from coming to any more games on CMS campuses, or any games involving that team, or whatever gets decided based on what that person does. And like I said, I've been a part of those Butler Independence games where we were supposed to play at Butler, and the wasn't big enough venue, so we moved at Memorial Stadium. Like our games were moved at Memorial Stadium, and at Memorial Stadium you have more gates, so therefore you are forced to have more security. The student ID check is tough. I think that's like the old, like in college when I was at Appalachian, you go to a game and you had to swipe your ID, or they checked your ID to get in, and that was kind of your ticket. It's tough because you're going to have, like she said, like this parent drops off 10 kids. Well, what happens if 5 of those kids have their ID and the other 5 don't? Well, those 5 get in, and the other 5 are just kind of hanging out around the stadium. Idle hands can sometimes do the devil's work. So we don't want any problems with that. So I see, a lot of those make sense, right? Number one, you obviously want to increase security, because that makes people feel safe, and nobody wants to go to a high school football game and feel threatened. I want to sit there and, eat my popcorn and drink a Coke and listen to some guy behind me yell stuff that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and enjoy the whole atmosphere.
Right.
So I, like I said before, I see both sides of it. I'm not trying to ride the fence, but I obviously, I'm a parent, I'm a CMS parent. My son plays for me. So I definitely see both sides of the coin.
Yeah. So obviously, the increased security, they're limiting attendance because they don't have the security they feel for the number of people that are there.
Yep.
But if you limit attendance, you're hurting in a couple of ways. One, you're hurting that gate tremendously.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of the things that we see. That's a lot of money. If there's 1,500, 2,000 people, an estimate for West Charlotte was $25,000 that they lost in gate, just in gate. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that I felt that maybe can go towards security. You can you can cover the security. The venue change. There have also been some games, Independence Butler games, that were played at Providence. So we had that era when they were played at Memorial and then at Providence, and security being one of the things that, as I remember it, that regional championship game. I don't know if you remember that game, but you were sitting up in the stands, and I went across the field and came up and talked with you.
Yeah.
If you remember that,
I do. Sitting there freezing.
That was a game that you had to get there early because the security clearances to get in were tighter.
Yeah.
So I think we need to look at increasing the security versus decreasing the attendance.
Well, and you also got everybody knows that, those big gate sales from high school football games, and I'm not saying it's the only thing that matters, but those big ticket games like that can fuel the entire athletic department. It's not just going to football. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, think about if you go to I'll use Butler Independence because I coached in those games, right? Think about how much money you make at a concession stand in that game. Think about how much, like there was never a time where we were at a Butler Independence game and the concession stand didn't sell out. Right? So you got concessions on top of the ticket sales. I'm not saying that won't happen with limited tickets, but there's a greater chance you're going to sell more concessions with more people. So the money aspect of it is huge. And me being, the way I am about high school football, I'm more about the experience. Like, people need, man, I've been to some phenomenal high school football games. I've been lucky to be a part of a lot of really good high school football games. And I just think the experience of being able to be at that game and, really kind of take in that atmosphere is tough to not be able to do it when you're really into it and you're quote unquote like a football purist that just wants to go to the game, right? You just want to see a really good football game. The year when I was at Independence and we were lucky enough to beat Coach Hales over at Butler, and we beat them 28-27. I mean, my neighbors were at that game, and like my neighbor played football at Mars Hill, and he's in the Mars Hill Hall of Fame, and he still says that's the best football game he's ever been a part of.
It was a good game.
Yeah. So like I think it does stink, but it can stink on both sides if somebody gets hurt. It's unintended.
Well, the thing is, it wouldn't be too hard to fund some extra security. I mean, to me, one of the things I always look at is if you're going to have extra expenses, you also need to have some type of extra revenue. I mean, do corporate sponsors. I mean, do some type of collection. I'm sure the parents would love to know that their kids will live more safe. Raise some money. I mean, I don't know exactly how much it costs per person for security. I'm gonna guess it's probably around $100 or so, give or take, a few bucks here and there. If you have 3 security guys there now, why don't we have 6? If you have 5, why don't you have 10? Just do something to increase just the presence, like you said, because if you have more people there, it's like Murphy's Law or Murphy repellent. If you have that extra money in your bank account, something usually doesn't break down as fast as when you don't have the money, So.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like insurance.
Exactly. The experience thing. Some parents miss the game. That West Charlotte Independence game. So you got family members that can potentially be not able to be there to see. Now, how would you feel as a parent, Joe, if you were not able to see your son play? Now, you were, but if you were not a coach and you went to get tickets and you were told you can't, you're not going to be able to attend the game.
I would not be happy at all. There would not be I would be upset, but I guarantee you I would not be as upset as my wife would be. Because my wife cherishes every single football game that she's been able to watch our son play.
Right.
And I know that, that is just super unfortunate. But yeah, I would not be, I try to, it's kind of that role reversal of like, oh, you felt like this happened to you? Well, what about if it happened to me? So I understand, like I would not be very happy at all.
Those are things we got to also consider as we move forward through this season is how do we keep that from happening? Even if they're going to limit attendance, how do we keep that from occurring? I see Gary has joined us.
It's something else.
I wanted to ask Joe one more question first, Jim, if that's okay. On the consequences thing. Now you mentioned, Joe, about not being able to attend games and all.
Mm-hmm.
But Gary brought up a good point to us about what had occurred and earlier in his career of a principal making a statement that anytime there were any fights, people were going to get hauled off to jail, hauled off by the police. So the consequences, when I threw that together, I'm thinking more of along those lines. So if not just banning you, for the rest of the season, but immediate consequences of you get hauled off. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, dependent upon what you're doing, right? Because there's always levels to consequences. We know that. Like if you're in school and you're skipping a class, that's a lot different than getting in a fight. So there's always different levels. And I think, I would have no problem if we were at one of our games and there was a fight in the stands and, three people got put in handcuffs and hauled off, because I think that sets the example and kind of sets the tone for we ain't gonna stand for this. And it's like it's kind of one of those, like, everybody else kind of looks at it and goes, oh man, I don't want that. So like the next game they go to, there's an issue in the stands and somebody leans over to their friend and goes, hey man, you remember that game last week we were at? Those 3 kids got arrested, or those 3 people got arrested. It can be kind of like a cautionary tale to keep people from doing those things. So I think it's something that should definitely be addressed, should definitely be talked about, and to make it a better experience for the people that are there for the right reasons.
Jay, I wanted to ask you a question about this policy. When did you learn about the policy, about the restriction of sizes for these big games?
I guess it was probably a few weeks ago. I try to kind of stay in my lane and kind of keep those blinders on during the season of worrying about my team. And, I always tell our guys to worry about us, don't worry about the other team. So it was probably a few weeks ago, I guess, when that issue happened at Mallard Creek and West Charlotte. And then I kind of got brought to light a little bit more. So I was just kind of like, man, and I remember my first thought was like, man, that stinks for the people that were there. Cause I've been in that, I've been in that a couple of years ago. I was like, man, that kind of really stinks for our fans because something happened on the other side and they kicked everybody out. Right. And I've kind of been through that. And I remember thinking like, man, what about the fans that were there just to watch the kid play or watch their boyfriend play or their best friend play that, like we're going to go, I live in Union County and my son's best friend plays at Sun Valley. So our last game of the season, we're playing Myers Park on Thursday, the 30th. Well, Union County's playing on Friday. So I actually get to go and watch one of my good friends' son and my son's best friend go play Sun Valley at Porter Ridge. And, I would be like, man, what would happen if something happened on the other side and they made me leave? You know what I mean? Like that. And it's really, it's something that I just, I think is very unfortunate. If that does happen, it's just not a good look either way around.
That's a good ball game, by the way, Joe. Atmosphere wise, that's a big rival. That's a huge rival.
It is. Sun Valley is really good too. I mean, Porter Ridge is good. Hurst does a good job too.
Now, another question I have, Joe, and I'll leave you alone. The NCHSAA announced, I can't remember, it was sometime last week, where they're not going to announce the draw or the seeding for the playoffs until Monday instead of Saturday. What's your feelings about that? I'm just curious if you have strong feelings about preparation.
Yeah, I mean, man, as a coach who likes his, I'm like sitting there hitting refresh on those brackets. They put up the preliminary brackets, and I'm like, all right, let me see if I can find film on this team, just preliminary. I don't like it at all. I just don't, because you come out, Monday is a huge day. I mean, regular season, but then it's amplified in playoff season. Monday is a massive day. You're going to watch film and you're going to break down film. And, I see it as such a drawback, because my staff meets on Sunday nights. We meet on Sunday nights. I give my coaches have families. I give them all day Saturday off and pretty much all day Sunday to be with their families and watch film and kind of decompress from Friday night's game. And then to not announce it until Monday, I think it creates big issues, because now, Monday is a huge install day for us. We install Monday and Tuesday. And we do it by down and distance and situation and things like that. But that's almost 48 hours of time that you're just kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs as a head coach going, all right, your kids are texting you like crazy. Coach, do you know who we play? Do you know who we play? Like, I'm trying to keep it a secret. Like, I promise you guys, I tell my kids, as soon as I know something, I promise you guys will know. And it's a big detriment, because you're going to tell us on Monday, right, who we're going to play on Friday. Right. So now you just slowed down my timeline, but also at the same time sped up my timeline, because now you slowed me down on Saturday and Sunday. And then I got to get everything kind of shoved in on Monday. And then by the time you get to Tuesday, Wednesday, you're still trying to figure out and sift through everything you got to do. I mean, it's not good from a preparation standpoint at all, I don't think.
Yeah, you won't be able to install until Tuesday, because you're going to have to. You won't know. You will not have looked at any game film of your opponent until Monday afternoon.
We would have Monday night practice from 6 to 8 o'clock somewhere.
Right.
I'd call another school. We would have practice that night under some lights. We would definitely, as soon as we find out, we would have. I mean, we have to have a viewing party and get pizzas. We'll do it.
Gary.
Yes.
I'm sorry. You got anything for Joe about those topics?
No, I mean, he hit the nail on the head. I know what the preparation is like, for a playoff game, because, like he said, coaches meet on the weekend, and you have to come up with a defensive game plan, offensive game plan. A lot of times coaches still want to correct mistakes on Monday with their team, if not Saturday morning. And because you don't want to let, huge mistakes go to waste. And that's a lot to have to do on a Monday. And, most of the coaches, at least half of every staff, they're in the classroom on all day Monday. They don't get a chance to look at it. Mm-hmm. It said the brackets come out at 9 in the morning on Monday. That doesn't mean anything to a coach who's got to teach classes all day.
Nope. I got three classes.
Yeah. You got to look at classes. You haven't had a chance. You can't tell the kids what they're going to do until all coaches know what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And that's
let me amplify that. They say they're going to release them at noon, right? And that's always the schedule on Saturdays, is have a release at noon. And then everybody gets a chance to review and protest if you didn't see something that aligned with what you liked. And then they would go through and organize the brackets based on that. And usually it's not until 3 p.m. Exactly. 3 p.m. until we know on Saturday. So that means it's going to be 3 p.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
I can't, and I understand why they're doing it late, because everybody that works for the association is going to be out at, what is it, cross country state championships, or what? It's some other sports,
tennis or whatever,
that have other state championships on Saturday, and so they're going to be spread out across the state. But They still haven't told us why they couldn't do it on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, exactly.
Unintended consequence. I know.
Yeah, exactly. I love that word, Gary. Or that phrase.
Hey, coaches work on Sundays.
Hey, coaches work on Sunday for free.
I wash laundry and cut grass on Sundays during the season. So, I mean, somebody can go sit in the office and talk about playoff practice on a Sunday and, not put everybody a day behind.
So, I would think they could tell, all the ADs, hey, they already have a deadline as when you report the score. So they're gonna have all the scores that they need by Saturday. And I just can't understand why you can't punch that thing in early Sunday morning and get it out to the coaches on sometime Sunday afternoon so that they could meet Sunday night. At least you're saving Monday, like Coach Evans said, for install on Monday instead of coaches meeting on Monday, because they got to meet as a staff before they meet with the kids. And then
what happens if that last game of the season, that Friday night game, there's a rainout or a lightning delay and they can't find a place to play on Saturday? Do they play on Monday? Does that push the brackets to Tuesday? You see what I'm saying? Like, so there's a lot of factors that go into this thing when you're thinking about it. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just release them on Monday. Well, if Myers Park and South Mech are playing on a Friday night and a lightning storm comes through and there's nowhere for us to play on Saturday and they say we have to move to Monday, that just put the whole state back another day, maybe day and a half. So now you're
I watched a game. It was I think it was Parkwood and Sun Valley that this was in 2006, I think it was. It seems right, 2006 or 2007, one of those 2 years that the game got rained out. They had to play it on Saturday. Brackets could not be released because that game's result did impact how, who would be where. So it definitely impacted the playoffs. It wasn't like it was 2 0-10 teams playing each other.
Yeah.
There was a game of Wallace Roseville and James Keenan that had that issue where they had a shooting or somebody was waving a gun that Friday night, and they played early on Saturday morning to do that. And I don't know when that game got over. I think it got over after 12 p.m. So,
but Joe's got a good point. If they can't play it on Saturday, they're not going to play it on Sunday. So they're going to have to play it on Monday.
Joe, are y'all 7 or 8A this year?
8A.
Okay. So aren't the 8A playoffs, don't they have a shorter route to the playoffs? Aren't they going to have one less round than the other classifications?
So we have less teams.
Right.
So there's the thought is that there's going to be, when all the other classifications play their first round, there's going to be a built-in bye week before the first round of playoffs to kind of put everybody on the same schedule to where you can have your state championships, kind of all the.
So it's not bad on Monday for 8A classification because they're gonna have a bye anyway.
Yeah,
first week, but I could understand the other classifications being upset about it, but there's your unintended consequence. At least the big boys will have they'll have a chance to prep, and then next year, everybody's learning with new classifications. Okay, so next year, all right, we can't put these non-revenue sports. They can't finish the same week that football finishes. Okay, they're gonna have to finish a week earlier, or football's gonna have to finish a week later. One or the other.
Yeah, a lot of travel issues.
Gary, I don't. Technically, I know that it doesn't matter because technically those brackets can be cranked out like that, and all you have to have is a human to quickly look over them. So the keys are to make certain that we have good scores input into the system.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that maybe can help us here is that the week before football season regular season ends, all ADs should be required to assure that their records and scores are proper as to that date. And then the only remaining thing is the last Friday night's games. And then ADs should be required to have games reported with the ADs should be required to have games reported within 15 minutes of end of game and accurately reported.
I'm not trying to put any more work on the state, but I still can't understand why they can't get it out on Sunday.
I don't understand why they can't get it out on Saturday, Gary.
I understand Saturday because all the officials are going to be spread out around the state.
I don't understand Saturday. Technically,
definitely Sunday. I just can't understand why they can't get it out on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's right.
You get it out on Sunday. You get out on Sunday at 3:00. My staff meets at. I mean, we meet Sunday night at 6:00. Like you get out at 3. I've got time to. Thank God for Huddle, and film exchange because I remember coaching with Rocky. He gave me a paper bag with 2 VHS tapes in it, and I had to drive over and meet Coach so and so from somewhere and get film and drive it all the way back. At least we have like online sharing platforms now because I can. If we got to go to Watauga and play Watauga, I ain't driving to North Wilkesboro to meet a coach to get film. At least you can share it online.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Anything about travel issues, if we got to play Watauga first round or whoever, I'm just using Watauga because I went to app. But what happens if I'm trying to get like a Trailways bus for my kids to travel so I don't have to drive an activity bus up the mountain and be mentally prepared for a game? Well, now you got travel issues. Luckily like 8A, we will have that extra week, but then you're competing with everybody else to get transportation. A lot of issues, man. A lot of issues.
Do you mind if we jump to our picks?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of discussion, but this is our picks for this week. Gary, I noticed that we all had a lot of similar picks, but then there are a few different picks.
I'm going 6-0 the last 2 weeks.
I have too, and I was wondering. I'll be honest with you. I was wondering if all of us weren't going to go 6-0 this week, but I see that there are some different picks this week. Now you and I are close, with the exception of that Statesville and Davie game,
and also the Cannon and Charlotte Latin game. That Statesville and Davie is going to be really good. Statesville is a 6A team, and Davie, I believe, is an 8A team. Maybe it's 7A team or 8A. That's going to be a really good game. And Cannon Latin, I couldn't tell you anything about that game.
But we got a lot of differences. Not a lot, but there are differences this week in some picks. So somebody might go 6-0, but that doesn't mean.
Man, at least y'all got 2 tough games at the bottom right there.
Once I get out of Mecklenburg County, I'm almost flipping a coin. I'm sorry, I'm partial that way, but that's I grew up in Mecklenburg County. I played in Mecklenburg County. I coached in Mecklenburg County. That's what I know is Mecklenburg County.
Yeah,
well, that Lincolnton game, that could be a very, very good it will be a good ball game.
Man, I'm telling you guys, we scrimmaged Kings Mountain and we always go to the Cleveland County Jamboree preseason scrimmage. Last year we scrimmaged Kings Mountain. Like just dudes all over the field, right? Great team. We gave them a hard time. It was close. I can't remember what the score was. But Ashbrook's really, really tough. And then we scrimmaged Shelby this year at Gardner-Webb in that kickoff classic or the scrimmage, the Cleveland County Jamboree. And they are phenomenal. That quarterback they got at Shelby throwing to some of those speedsters, but you never count out a team like Lincolnton, right? That's why they play, you can pick them all you want, but that's why they play the game on the field on Fridays. And that's going to be a tough one.
That's going to be a good game, especially being it is at Lincolnton.
Yeah.
And, with the 3A, I think Shelby is probably has the highest ceiling of all the 3A schools in the state, followed by maybe James Keenan and maybe like a Northeastern or whatever. But right there with them is Lincolnton. Lincolnton might be the second best 3A team in the West. And I mean, I always love it when an underdog beats the favorites. So could have a big chip on their shoulder. Now the game also, I'm kind of looking at the Kings Mountain Ashbrook game though. Ashbrook, they might have the higher ceiling, but Kings Mountain, on a given day, Kings Mountain could win against about any 6A team. So, and to me, those two, the Kings Mountain Ashbrook game is a coin flip. I'm gonna take Ashbrook, and I'll take Shelby in the second game. But,
but both will be good ball games, I think.
Hey, I'm telling you, all my coaches at West Meck used to say, there's something different when you get on 74 or 85 and go across that Catawba River. They used to always say that, whether you're going to Kings Mountain or you're going to Ashbrook or you're going to Shelby, once you cross that Catawba River, you better be ready to play. And it might have been a just mental mind game, but they got me with it because I still say it to my guys if we go across the river.
Joe, I'll tell you something.
Start smelling all those fish camps.
Hey, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Different.
Joe, we scrimmaged Ashbrook my senior year, and I took a lick to the head to my helmet. So we were given our helmets that day. They had just been painted, they were ready to be worn. And I had a big mark on my helmet right here.
Yeah.
That I had to carry through the rest of the season. From Ashbrook.
War wound, baby.
Let's look at some standings, I guess, just see what's going on in the Mecklenburg County area. All right, that Greater Charlotte 7A, 8A. I think Garinger. I don't know about that one. Hopewell, Myers Park. I think Myers Park's will win that one pretty good. Any games at Chambers Independence, you think that's going to be much of a game? I mean, Chambers been struggling. Independence is Independence. Any thoughts about that, Dale or Joe or Gary?
Ooh, man, I'm telling you, that Power 6, 7A, 8A conference is, man. I mean, our conference is great. No disrespect to our conference, but I mean, you get in there and you got West Charlotte, Butler, Mallard Creek, Independence, Chambers, and North scrappy too. I mean, you get in there and it's one of those like the SEC kind of almost is like, man, what's going to happen tonight or what's going to happen today? Is Mississippi State going to beat Georgia? Because Mississippi State really got good players, just no disrespect to them. But as an example, I got, DJ was my offensive coordinator for a couple years. I think he's going to have his guys ready. They're going to play really, really hard. And I got to go with McFadden. No disrespect to my man, Captain Munlin up there at Chambers. But I think Indy will get it right this week. DJ's a great coach, and I think him and his staff will be ready to go.
You know what?
Yeah, I'm picking Indy.
I think people are sleeping on Mallard Creek since West Charlotte beat them pretty easily. But I think they discovered a quarterback, and that's what they have been missing for the last 4 years is a consistent quarterback.
Yep.
And I think Mallard Creek is getting ready to take off big time. I don't think they lose again in the regular season.
No, I wouldn't.
That quarterback's going to have a big game against Open this week, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think
let's look at the next
sneaky team.
Well, hang on a second. I just wanted to say I'm going to go to the North Meck Butler game because I've been to a lot of Butler games. They've never had a completed stadium. And
they're at Butler.
For those that don't know that stadium was never finished.
No.
From
Grass
the time
Hill.
it was built. Say again.
I said Grass Hill. I used to flip.
Yeah, Grass Hill. It turned into mud everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be at that game.
Gotcha.
Well, is it finished now? I know they did the turf, but is the rest of the stadium?
Well,
finished?
they're gonna play. So is it finished? I don't know if the whole thing's finished. So it may not be.
If they're limiting ticket sales, it doesn't matter if it's finished.
Yeah.
Got that right. So let's look at the next
That's
page.
true.
All right. Southwestern 7A, 8A. Rocky River, Ardrikale. I mean, I won't take Ardrikale. I'll take Palisades. Now that A.L. Brown at Central Gabarris, that could be a really good game. I will probably take
You
A.L.
just
Brown by
jumped right out. Let's see if anybody else got anything to say. Anybody else got anything to say about that game?
Which one?
That conference?
Which one? Southwestern?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good.
I think those are pretty straight up games, aren't they?
I think
I'm sorry, Jim.
I think Palisades is going they'll finish out on top. You know, this first time I've seen the standings because standings really don't matter anymore.
No, it doesn't. It's just all that RPI.
Yeah. I mean, I guess everybody still wants to put a trophy in the case. So,
right.
You know, I'm sure they're still giving conference championship trophies, but
yeah,
you know, with the way the playoffs are selected now, standings, you might have a team that finishes in third, and the team that finishes in fifth is a higher seed in the state playoffs.
Hey, well, we got a video that we can play about Palisades. I think we got a video or clip.
Man, first of all, you know, all glory to God. But I feel like this team just like different than any other team we've ever had. Especially with like the guys we have over here, and like they just welcome me with open arms, and you know, I just love these guys. I feel like we just pushed through, had some adversity, had some calls we thought should have been made, but you know, we just pushed through, and in the end we came out on top. I think we learn a lot about ourselves. Like when we get down, like this is one of our first times like being down by like 9 points. Because most of been down all year. But you know, we fought back. I think we just showed like our toughness and that like we can come out on top in any situation.
Really, just you know, we had that conversation. You know, we went back and watched last year's film a bunch. We watched them, you know, pretty much every day. And again, it was just about our time to kind of break through. You know, we had Clover on the ropes. We gave up. You know, the game-winning touchdown in the last 11 seconds. And then same thing kind of with Independence. You know, we had them on the ropes. Then we gave up the game-winning touchdown with about 4 minutes left. So really our conversation was not about can we compete with these teams. It's about can we finish against these teams. And that's what we did tonight. So I'm very, very excited and happy for these guys. Now, I mean, it is the emotional balance, though, because, you know, you get frustrated early in the game. You know, the call's not going your way. The ball's not bouncing your way. You know, they go up 9-0. You got to battle back. I mean, you just got to battle back, and you got to be emotionally controlled to battle back. So, no, it was an emotional thing more than anything, in my opinion.
Makes the post-game Dallas thing worthwhile, huh?
Man, I'm freaking. I knew I should have packed something extra, but I did that last year, and we ended up losing. So this year I had to just wing it. So yeah, it's all good.
Jim, before we roll on, did Joe leave?
Guess he did.
I guess he did. I was going to ask him about losing early in the season, how that builds you, which is what Coach Simmons was talking about. All right, let's go to the next conference.
Let's stay here for a second. The Olympic West Cabarrus game. I won't take Olympic in that game. I think they got just a little bit more than West Cabarrus does. That Greater Metro 6A 7A, you know, that conference might have been settled this last week when Olympic beat A.L. Brown. I don't
agree. No, I agree with you. I think those were the two top. Now, certainly things can change, but I think those were the two top contenders.
Yeah, I know West Cabarrus is 3-0 in that conference, but they haven't played A.L. Brown. They haven't played Olympic yet, so
right.
We shall see. All right, we can go to the next page. Big South, I leave that to you. I have no idea about those teams.
Well, the cream of the crop, of course, is Providence Day here. Latin is having a great season. I picked them to win this Friday night. Other than that, I don't think there's much more to say. I mean, at the end of the season, Providence Day will be the standing champion.
Now, the Southern Carolina 6A 7A, I see 5 really good teams in there, being Weddington and Porter Ridge Catholic, Marvin Ridge, and Sun Valley. I think those 5 teams could win a lot of these 6A or 7A conferences. Porter Ridge and Marvin Ridge, the battle of the ridges. I'm gonna go with Porter Ridge in this game, but it's gonna be a close one.
Huh. Certainly, I'm going with Porter Ridge. Is it going to be a close game? I'm not certain myself, Jim.
Okay.
I think, I hate to throw shade at teams, but that could be at least a couple of score spread, I think. But I think here, we've got I agree with you. Like prior to the previous conference, this conference has a lot more meat in it. Those are 5 good teams. It was interesting to hear Coach Evans talk about maybe making it to the Porter Ridge Sun Valley game, because that's a huge rival game there. That's a big game, kind of as big as the Weddington Marvin Ridge game is as far as attendance is concerned. But Weddington sure took care of Marvin Ridge this past week.
Sun Valley Catholic. I'm gonna go with Catholic in that game, and no disrespect to Cuthbertson, but Weddington all the way in that game.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next page here. All right, this North Piedmont 6A, 7A. It's always weird. I always think about North Piedmont being a 3A conference. Now it's a 6A, 7A conference. Lake Norman at South Iredell. I got Lake Norman all the way. Mooresville over North Iredell. That Statesville Davie County game could really go either way. I would say right now I probably will go with Statesville by maybe just the slightest score, but again, that game could really go either way. That's going to be a really good matchup. I don't know if you picked Davie or Statesville, but
I picked Davie.
Did you? I mean, that's a great. It's going to be a great game. Although Statesville got blown out last week, so who knows what'll happen. That Big South 5A 6A conference. You talk about another really good conference. Those top 5 teams. Really, I'm gonna say Hunter Huss might be the 5th team in that conference. I'd probably say Ashbrook, Crest, Kings Mountain, and South Point. Those are just tremendous programs here. Crest and Hunter Huss, I'll take Crest. That Kings Mountain Ashbrook game. I know a lot of people are big on Kings Mountain, but I'm going Ashbrook, and I'll take South Point over North Gaston.
Yeah, I'm as you saw, I picked Ashbrook. South Point. I agree with you on everything, but I do pick in the one game that'll probably be the real competitive and big time game, Kings Mountain Ashbrook. I'm going Ashbrook.
Okay.
I think Ashbrook's probably a solid score.
Oh, I think so too. I think they're a good touchdown.
At least a solid. Yeah.
7 to 10 points. All right, we'll go to the next page here. Rocky River 4A, 5A. Anson County and Mount Pleasant. I'll tell you what, Mount Pleasant had a pretty big win last week. And I'm going with Mount Pleasant. Monroe West Stanley, I'm going to go with Monroe. I say that very calmly because I'm from that county. So I'll just say Monroe. But
and Forest Hills and Piedmont are excuse me, Parkwood. I don't know why I said Piedmont, are not playing.
Right.
So I agree with you on the other on the other picks. Yeah.
The South Piedmont 4A, 5A conference. It's not really that strong of a conference this year. The one team that I think is really strong though is J.M. Robinson, and I think they'll roll over South Rowan. Carson at Concord. That game really could go either way. I'm gonna go with Concord just simply because it's a home field advantage. It's a little bit hard. I think Concord's home field advantage might be just a little bit more strong than most home field advantages. Salisbury is just in bad shape this year. I mean, no way to put it. They're struggling against everybody. I'm going with Northwest Cabarrus in that game. And West Rowan and East Rowan. I know East Rowan had a big win over Salisbury, but I'm going to go with West Rowan in that game.
Yeah, I'm not going to counter you on any of those picks.
Okay.
I think Robinson is the cream of the crop there.
Now, this next conference, these teams like to beat up on each other. Bandy's and North Lincoln, that should be a pretty decent game. North Lincoln's a 5A team, Bandy's a 4A. I'm going to go with Bandy's in that game. Bunker Hill at Newton Conover. Newton Conover is a really good team. They had a pretty big win. I can't remember who they beat now. If it was, did they beat Maiden last week, or I can't remember who they beat somebody pretty good, or maybe they beat Bandy's.
I was thinking Maiden won this past week.
I think they did. I think they beat. I think Newton Conover beat Bandy's for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'll take Newton Conover in that game. East Lincoln all over Fred T. Ford and Hickory. West Iredale is a really good team this year. They've improved. They're probably the most improved team in that whole classification, but I'm taking Hickory.
Yeah, they're not Hickory improved.
No, exactly. All right. Is that all the standings here?
I think it is.
Oh, we've got another 2A,
that's
3A, 4A.
South Piedmont, yeah.
Yeah. East Gaston at Cherville. I'm gonna go with East Gaston in that game. No disrespect to Cherville, Ironman. Bessemer City over Highland Tech. Shelby at Lincolnton, that's the game to go to. Actually, I see Stuart Kramer in Lincolnton. I know that's got to be a mistake. Maybe Stuart Kramer's playing West Lincoln, but Shelby at Lincolnton. That game might be the game to go.
That's got to be certainly a typo, and maybe so we would assume West Lincoln.
Yeah, I think it's West Lincoln. Shelby at Lincolnton there, I'm going to go with Shelby. I'm going to say Stuart Kramer at West Lincoln. I'll go with Stuart Kramer in that game. So Stuart Kramer's improved quite a bit.
I'm in line with you on all those picks, but I do believe that Shelby game is going to be a really good ball game. Shelby Lincolnton.
Let's see, Christ the King at Lake Norman Charter. I'm going to go with Lake Norman King or Lake Norman Charter. Lane Tree Charter at Corvian all the way. Lincoln Charter at Community School of Davison. Just my guesses on those. The next one, the Catawba Yadkin 1A, 2A, 3A. I'll take Albemarle over Bonnie Cone. The Battle Stanley County, I'm going to go with North Stanley. I'll take North Rowan over Thomas Jefferson, and I'll take Mountain Island Charter over Union Academy. Big Six, I have no idea. Western Athletic, I have no idea. I'll let you talk on that.
We got Asheville School at High Point Christian.
I understand High Point Christian is really good.
Yeah, I would go with High Point Christian here.
I don't know about that.
I don't really know enough about South Lake Christian right now, but my I don't know. I think I would go with them, but I don't know enough about either school here to even begin to make a pick. I do believe so. We got Cannon and Latin, and I picked Latin. That game was in our picks. Cannon's playing well, but I don't think they're playing Latin well.
Yeah. How long has Cannon been playing now? They've only been playing for what, 6 or 7 years?
Football?
Yeah. Hasn't been a long time, if I remember correctly.
I think that's right. We can maybe get something typed into the chat by somebody who might know better. Charlotte Latin, say again?
It might even be 8 or 10 years. I remember, I was thinking, didn't Brad Hoover, didn't he become the coach at Cannon at one time, or am I dreaming that?
I don't remember. I think that's right, but I don't. Was it at Cannon that he was coaching?
I can't remember if it was Cannon or who it was. Hoover was the coach at.
We gotta, Charlotte Christian and Raven Gap, Raven Gap's a really, really good 5-6 years ago is when Cannon started. So that's about right. I'm going to go with Raven Gap, but
Yeah, I'll go.
Christian's not. Yeah, that's just a hard to pick against Raven Gap, unless you're picking for Providence Day.
Right.
I think Providence Day's again kind of the cream of the crop of privates and maybe of all football in North Carolina right now.
Other teams: Ambassador Christian, Cabarrus Stallions.
I cannot say anything.
Yeah, same. Neither.
I know nothing. What was it that Schultz used to say?
Yeah, Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing.
I know nothing. I definitely know nothing.
My limitations are limitless when it comes to private schools. So,
Jim, it was great having Joe on tonight.
oh gosh, was
and
it
hearing him? I don't know if you know this, but Joe did host several shows with us, co-hosted several shows with us back years ago. We've been doing this so long now, but
yeah,
4 years ago, something like that. He's a natural for this stuff. It was good hearing from him, hearing the linemen, offensive linemen talking, and defensive line. My thoughts are that I want those of you watching, hopefully people are still with us, send us some picks. I think I've got some linemen for next week. There's one of our favorite people chiming in, Karen Belk. Send us some picks, coaches, of offensive and defensive linemen, one of each. We probably have some for next week, but we want to hear from more. And if I heard from 10 different people, Jim and I just might have to punch out just a video where it's just of that and put it up. I'm willing to talk to as many as there are, and I'm sure Jim is willing to commit time.
oh yeah, most definitely.
My biggest concerns right now are the state of the being of athletics. Both started with NCHSAA and the state, but seems like we have these issues here in the city with the CMS. So I just want to say, people, let CMS know those of you watching in the CMS viewing area, let them know how you feel about limiting tickets, and don't forget what the state is trying to do to coaches by waiting until Monday to push out who teams will be playing. Jim, I think that's just too important.
Right.
We can go back.
I agree with you on that. The one thing I have to say is if there's one thing that we need to have in the state of North Carolina, I don't care if it's with their education or athletics or, building roads, whatever, is pragmatism. And sometimes pragmatism is just thrown out of the window. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like when you don't include all stakeholders into the discussion, like, for example, limiting the ticket sales. You don't include the coaches or the ADs or whoever the people, the stakeholders are. It does cause some hard feelings when you in NCHSAA not having doing the playoff selections until Monday. Who does it hurt? It hurts the coaches. If you notice this year, there's a lot of just seems like there's one common denominator when it comes to victims is our coaches. I mean, how much more
Right.
can our coaches do? I mean, they're not getting paid a lot. They're seems like they're having told to do more or less. They have issues when it comes to just simple funding. And then, here you are taking away some of their ticket sales, and not only the ticket sales, your concessions sales and all that. and where's the revenue coming from? And just so many things we need to think about. And pragmatism is one of it. You got to include all your stakeholders. So,
So Karen mentioned that Indy's homecoming game is going to be limited to 1,400. 1,400. 1,400. If you go to a CMS stadium, one of the new stadiums that have been built, 1,400 will not fill the visitor side. So that's about how small 1,400 people is in the entire stadium.
well, quick question for you, Dell. How many kids are at Independence? It's probably around 1,400, 1,500 kids, maybe 16 or 1,700. I don't know. Maybe it's 1,700 or so. But when you limit it to less than what your student body is, how does that build school spirit?
How does that build anything?
Yeah.
So, schools that need funds, like Karen just said, and just like you said, that really hurts them. You get, having worked on Booster Club, I have a good understanding of where funds come from. And a lot of people may not understand where funds come from. You get sponsors. You go out and you find some corporate sponsors that'll donate money. You sell ads or things like that. But a large chunk of money comes from concession stands.
Right.
Gates and concession stands. And the gates and the concession stands in football season buy basketball uniforms, they buy track uniforms, they buy volleyball uniforms, they buy volleyballs, they buy softball uniforms. All these other sports live off of football.
Right.
It's hard for basketball. Basketball is your next highest revenue sport. And so basketball can bring in a little bit of money, but not near the money that football brings in.
Right.
It costs less to operate a basketball program, so maybe basketball can afford through their own revenue to buy their own uniforms, etc. But for them to help fund other sports, it's just not happening. So, all sports are going to be hurt by this.
And this is homecoming too. That looks like 2,150 students. I'm gonna say probably 450 of them are going to be seniors of that 21. Usually you have your freshman class is your largest and your senior class is your smallest. Let's say 500 just to be rough around. You got 500 students, you got parents, you got siblings, and you're basically saying, you know what? Yeah, it's your homecoming, but we don't really care about it because we got another plan we know better than you do anyway. You got to have pragmatic thought. It's just
think about it. Think about it this way. What is happening at Independence that DJ has done, and I, every time I see DJ, I tell him he is the right person to be the head coach there.
Right.
They needed pride brought back to that program because that suffered, and now that he's doing that, and when you see more former Indy players coming around the program, which is happening. Here's a homecoming game. When would Indy players think about coming back if they were going to come back and they could fit any time in, but they could only fit one weekend? So I can go anytime during the season, but I can only go to one game. It would probably be, would be the Butler game if to be honest, if that game is taking place, right? But at the end of the day, a homecoming game is going to bring those people in, and so now you're going to limit the the history of the school coming in, as well.
Well, Dale, it's about 10:22. I know we've gone over a lot of time here, so didn't know if you had any parting thoughts or.
Well, I did my final thought. Karen asked if Butler's homecoming will be limited, and now she's asking, we don't know because we don't know what the formula is for determining which games get limited.
It's not transparent.
It's
There's
not
nothing.
transparent, so we don't know what the criteria was for limiting this game, and thus does that same criteria match up for Butler's homecoming game?
I mean, if
Uh,
Garinger and East Mac play, are they going to limit that? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. A question was asked, which is a relevant question. What about Ardrey and Providence when they play? Will they
That's
be
a
limited?
threshold one. That's a threshold. That's between being high profile, maybe just right under. That's going to be.
Right.
I mean, that's a big game. It's a big
I
game.
mean, I don't think Butler has the pool that some might think with CMS to be able to say you can't limit our game. The programs that would normally get that kind of target would be a Myers Park that
Right.
would get the target of, well, you have influence over the system. And I'm not saying Myers Park has influence over the system, but that is the perceived view by many. And I don't think that Butler is perceived to have that same kind of control. So, Karen, I don't think if Butler's is not limited, I don't believe it's because it's Butler, but I don't know because we don't have transparency as to who is being limited and why they're being limited. Transparency, Jim, is so important.
It really is. And then if when you are transparent, some people say, well, you're too transparent or you're not transparent enough. But this right here, there's no transparency. There's nobody shared any formula about what's legitimate or not, or what's high profile. So
that's a real final thought.
Yeah,
I'll have.
But be transparent, be pragmatic.
Be transparent. So CMS, be transparent about what's going on. Let us know what's going on. Announce it. We used to have press releases that told us. I remember going to an Independence Providence game and getting, Vicki Hamilton sending out a press release telling everyone this is the procedure to attend the game. Only so many people will be allowed. Only so much media will be allowed. Only so many extra people will be allowed onto to have access to the field. So there was all this criteria that's put out to us at the beginning of the week, so we all could plan to be there. CMS, you've got to be that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Announce it. So.
All right. Well, Dale, thank you so much. Always been a pleasure. And please catch us on Friday night at 11 o'clock. We will have a Twitter Spaces or whatever they call it now, Elon Musk land. That's on Fridays at 11 o'clock. We will have a Talking Preps on Tuesday at 8 p.m. And what we have here, Talking Preps OT at 8:30 on Wednesday.
It's not on Spaces. We're doing it like we're doing this.
Okay, gotcha.
This Friday night's going to be like this, people. Where Jim and I'll be.
That's right.
Jim and I'll be on. Exactly. And any of the other Talking Preps people that decide to join, like Gary joined us a little while ago, we'll all be here.
And Dale is frozen up, looks like.
Yeah, I wonder what's going. There we go. So coaches that like to contact us and talk with us, you're still going to be able to do that. So Langston is working that out so that information will be out there, and we'll still be able to have that interface. So yeah, Jim, it'll be just like this format right here.
Right.
You get to see Jim's pretty face.
I don't know about that. Well, from Jim West and Dale Ross and Brian Hales and Joe Evans and all the two great South Mech players and Gary Richmond, thank you all for coming in, and please catch us up on Friday night. Take care.